Dear friends, welcome to yet another installment of Strategic Power. In this video, we will examine Sweden's integration into NATO after a 2-year period, solidifying the alliance in Northern Europe. Its accession adds significant military capability, experience in confronting the Russian threat, and influence over the Baltic Sea region. However, Germany is hesitant to send cruise missiles to Ukraine, fearing being perceived as involved in the conflict, a decision that has generated divisions within the German government. This German reluctance raises questions about the weakening of NATO cohesion at a crucial moment. Controversial details about the alliance's next steps will be explored throughout this video. The flag-raising event in Brussels, which officially marks Sweden's accession to NATO, is underway at the alliance's headquarters. This formalization occurs 2 years after Sweden's application to join the military alliance, made in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Swedish Prime Minister, speaking in Brussels, highlighted the gravity of the security situation in the region, equating it to the period of World War II. He emphasized the continuity of the Russian threat to Euro-Atlantic security and stressed that NATO membership is a measure to guarantee and provide security in the face of this challenging scenario. Considering Sweden's geographic location, military power, and experience in dealing with Russian aggression, its accession to NATO is perceived as a significant blow to the Kremlin. The analysis of what the country brings to the transatlantic alliance seeks to strengthen defenses against possible Russian attacks. The inclusion of Sweden as the second Nordic country to join NATO in a year brings a series of strategic advantages for the alliance. Following in Finland's footsteps and renouncing neutrality, Sweden is sending a significant message to countries still undecided regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It is time to take a stand. By abandoning a 200-year tradition of neutrality and non-alignment, Sweden is taking a decisive step that demands seriousness, although it is a natural development. Furthermore, the Kremlin can no longer dismiss Finland's accession as an isolated incident, as NATO is working on defense plans for its eastern members, aimed at deterring any Russian advance. Sweden brings valuable experience in understanding strategies to counteract this threat. Sweden's military capability positions it as a prominent new member. The country possesses state-of-the-art aircraft and anti-aircraft missiles, as well as high-performance tanks and submarines, in addition to a considerable naval fleet. As one commentator noted, Sweden has a navy with a 500-year history, and it is one of the largest in the Baltic Sea, an area where NATO does not have much naval presence. Sweden's geographic location is also strategically advantageous. Firstly, it serves as a land route to assist neighbouring countries, Norway and Finland, in case they need reinforcements. Additionally, it allows NATO to establish control over the Baltic Sea in case of conflict with Russia, given Sweden's extensive coastline. In return, Sweden now receives security guarantees from NATO member states in case of attack by Russia or any other country in the future. The message to Russia's opponents is clear. Both NATO and Sweden emerge stronger from this agreement. What is the sentiment in NATO today? Are celebrations in order after a process that had its stumbles over the past 2 years? Certainly, after these long 2 years, many bottles will be uncorked, especially in the last year, when Finland was admitted to the alliance after receiving all approvals from the other allies a year ago, leaving Sweden in a vulnerable position, almost as if it were a target. With Finland on one side and Norway on the other, Sweden was left out. Therefore, there is a great sense of relief here at NATO headquarters. Both the Swedish Prime Minister, Ulf Kristersson, and Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg were clearly pleased, even laughing a little, something unusual here at NATO. Everyone is really in a good mood to finally see the end of this process with the raising of the Swedish flag. The Swedish Prime Minister highlighted that the Russian threat to Euro-Atlantic security influenced Sweden's decision to join NATO, breaking with a long tradition of neutrality. Why does Sweden consider joining NATO a safer bet than remaining neutral? The change in NATO's military posture reflects the belief that the Russian threat will not disappear anytime soon. Not only will the war in Ukraine not be resolved quickly, but Russia may turn its attention to other neighbours in the future. For countries in the Baltic states and the Nordic region, the concern about the possibility of being next is palpable. The Swedish Defence Minister frequently stated, without Article 5, without being a NATO member, we can expect, wish, or even assume that other countries would defend us, but we cannot be certain. We can only have that guarantee with Article 5, and that is what NATO membership now provides Sweden. But what is the contribution of Sweden and Finland in dealing with a possible Russian military threat? These countries are known to be considered significant security providers, as Prime Minister Kristersson observed. Although they are not necessarily the primary targets of a potential Russian attack, those would more likely be the Baltic states or Poland, frequently the target of provocative comments from Russia. Both Finland and Sweden have been preparing to defend themselves independently, building up their armed forces over time. Both countries have substantial reserves, highly trained troops, and high recruitment rates. Finland, for example, maintains compulsory military service, contributing to robust armies. As soon as they expressed a desire to join NATO, many other countries expressed interest in learning from their resilient and self-sufficient approaches, as well as maintaining exceptional discipline in their ranks. Therefore, there is great anticipation at the moment when this Nordic front will be consolidated, with Finland and Sweden firmly protected under NATO's umbrella. One of the urgent issues facing NATO members is, of course, the war in Ukraine and Kyiv's repeated calls for more weapons. In Germany's case, the current debate centres on a British proposal for a cruise missile swap. This would involve Germany ceding its Taurus missiles to Britain, which, in turn, would send more Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. Germany's Foreign Minister, Annalena Baerbock, has expressed openness to the idea. However, Chancellor Olaf Scholz has so far blocked any decision to send these long-range weapons to Kyiv. He is concerned about the potential use of these armaments against targets in Russia, and also about the possible need to involve German soldiers in their launch. Opinions differ considerably regarding the supply of cruise missiles. It is public knowledge that the Foreign Minister, Annalena Baerbock, suggests that the missiles be sent directly to Ukraine, while the German Chancellor firmly opposes Germany providing any type of weaponry, especially the Taurus system, considered one of the best in the world. The main concerns lie in the potential involvement of German soldiers in directing these weapons and in the range of the missiles, which could reach Moscow if launched from certain areas of Ukraine. The Chancellor's main concern is to avoid Germany being seen as a party to the conflict, something Chancellor Scholz is determined to avoid at all costs. Sweden's entry into NATO marks a historic point in geopolitical relations with Russia. By abandoning centuries of neutrality, Sweden joins its military forces to the Western Alliance, while Germany hesitates to fully commit. With Putin showing an increasingly ruthless stance, this division in the European bloc may be a fatal breach that the Russian leader will exploit without hesitation. Does Berlin's indecision to provide long-range weapons weaken NATO's determination at the very moment it most needs to demonstrate its strength? We invite you to share your firm opinion on the developments of this new world order that is taking shape.